Hello, JivanMukti.org, MikeRatner.com to my other fans. So I want to talk about discretion. Am I better with the hoodie on or off? Discretion. What does discretion mean for you? So I'm really talking more in the contrast to how we are presenting ourselves and how we would be considered spirit professors. So those that profess some knowledge or teaching, and it might really be great information. When we look at spirit professorship, we're talking about engagement and a certain quality and the contours of our role in presenting information as a teacher or as an instructor. So we place the I in instructor with on. O for being an effective online instructor. And spirit professorship in this regard would be those who are teaching spiritual concepts into the realm of the metaphysical world. New Age, could be religious studies, ethics even. So in regard to discretion, we're looking at the idea here that we might have some really great information, and everything is about our presentation. So it's also important to have some discretion. So what do we mean by discretion? So in this way, we might preference what we're saying to what's tailored to our particular audience. So yes, that means demographics, right? Age range, perhaps geography, but more so, if we're looking at teaching a certain group, why are they even taking your course? What are their expectations? What's the appeal for them? So it tells you something about your audience. So if there's something you can designate about it, then you're going to talk into their world, right? So they can more easily relate to the material and they find benefit in the way that you're presenting this knowledge. So it's very attractive. And in your way, you're being very inviting. And the key part is that you have their permission to talk about these ideas. However, having some discretion where we might preference some ideas over others is also looking at that quality of engagement to determine, are they ready to hear this information? And ready can mean a couple things. One is this what they signed up for? And are they expecting this? And did you preference it? And did you also pre-frame it, which means that you're going to be talking about it, this is what the course is about. So they knew in advance, and this is what they could expect to hear or see, and what you're going to present and teach. So the discretion is to make sure that that's what that they've been well informed and told, rather than just presenting something that's totally off the wall or not an expectation, and also into the level. You see, I might really reveal a really great teaching. So number one, I need to have your awareness and some preference that you signed up to get this information, that you know this is what we're going to talk about and present. There could be some surprise elements of value, but if you go off in an area or a range in which is not of interest to them, or not even in the expectation how you frame the course, like you said you're a Democrat, and then you're talking about how the virtues of republicanism all through the course of presentation, it's there's some discombobulation there. There could be some purpose to some things said in a certain way, but is it purposeful? Also, the discretion level is also about being discreet. So, if this is a beginner's course on whatever the topic might be, and I hit you off right away on my doctorate level dissertation or just way over their head, well, you've lost them right away. They might not come back. They might even ask for a refund if they've paid to take your course. And also, you don't want that kind of viral spread of disinformation because something was said in a way that really was in opposition to their beliefs, but there was no sort of courtesy or some way to bring things up in an elegant way that they could then come into their own realm, which I do describe back into permission, that they say, okay, tell me about it. I'm willing to consider this, and I'm open to it. And if you hadn't helped create that environment or metasphere so that they would have sort of the space conduits that sort of made this information enticing and inviting and them wanting to hear more, then you've kind of closed the door and perhaps done more damage than good. So discretion and being discreet on certain levels, because it's also called the law of kamit, the law of secrets, which means if something is really divine for those people who have taken a graduate level of your course and you've done it in a certain way that's whole brain, so there's equilibrium, right? There's, people have put some sweat equity into the work to get to a certain point where now they're ready to receive that information. Otherwise, if you could give the greatest secret in the world, whatever it would be, but if they're not prepped for it, and they're not willing or wanting to hear that information, even though it might be the best information, the way it may be received just might cause them to close out. And that means that they won't consider it in the way that you would like them to. And so some things are just not meant for this particular time, either because you haven't received that permission and there isn't that sort of receptivity or this level of invite where they're going to be receptive to the information, or they're just not ready to hear it because given the circumstances that they're in or level of education or willingness to accept, you just don't go there because it could be damaging. Now, some people might argue and say, well, you got to do it. You got to invade people's space. And some things you have to break things up. Well, that's in your mind, right? So you're going to project that out there. So having discretion, a little bit of consideration. These are important concepts we need to talk about more. So number one is eye-awareness, right? We're having eye-awareness. Right? You could have an awareness out there that's illusion, right? I'm alluding to something out there that's in my mind or believed to be there. And it could be there, but what's the point of pointing it out, right? Is there a purpose behind it? Or you're just trying to deflect attention and responsibility. So now the intention is to blame, though the cause of the problem is out there. And it might be, but is it really more what the direction you're looking at? If you just turned around, you wouldn't have that as an issue anymore? Isn't that what we're trying to, I say trying, isn't that where we're going towards? Or coming from that sense of being in the here and now and how we present ourselves. So this level of spirit professorship is really, I'd say, something that to be esteemed, that you really work at in your presentation and how you present from yourself to the information. So it's engaging but also welcomed. And that takes some discretion. Is this person wanting and willing to receive this information? And in the way that I'm going to deliver it, can they handle it? These are important considerations. Otherwise, it's just space invasion and a waste of your time and a lot of ill will and negative energy that otherwise could be formed. So we want to sort of contrast that to just really being lovingly present as we can as spirit professors.